Trending now on Facebook, leaning left. Facebook is under fire after a report that the social media network purposefully blocks conservative news stories from its trending topics feed. The report in Gizmodo quotes a whistleblower. Here we go. Workers prevented stories about the right-wing CPAC gathering, Mitt Romney, Rand Paul, and other conservative topics from appearing in the highly influential section, even though they were organically trending among the site's users, end quote. Fascinating piece. Tucker Carlson knows this well. He's the editor of Daily Caller, co-anchor of Fox and Friends Weekend, and a Fox News contributor. And Tucker, good morning to you.
Morning, Bill.
You were saying during the commercial that this is one of the biggest stories of the year.
Well, for sure.
That sounds like an overstatement. Go ahead and defend it.
Well, I'm not sure most people understand just how central Facebook is to the news business. More Americans get their news through Facebook than from any other source. Among millennials, people under 30, it's in the mid-60s. The average millennial gets all or the majority of his or her political news and news about government from Facebook. So if you control what news people are getting, you control the attitudes they develop about the news. So it's hugely significant. I think people think of Facebook, especially older people, as a place to, reconnect with your high school classmates. But for especially younger people, as I said, it really is their window on the world.
You're very true about that. You walk down the street, you talk to people in your life, and they say, hey, did you see that story? And
That's exactly right.
I asked, where'd you see it? And they said, saw it on Facebook.
Well,
and to that point, you're right.
Well, completely, and especially the trending topics part. I mean, what the allegation is, and it appears to be true, is that Facebook employees distorted the data. They distorted the stories that were the most popular. So imagine you're sitting at home and reading trending topics because you want to know what everyone else on Facebook is interested in and reading about. And you're left with the sense that, you're sort of alone in whatever your concern is, that nobody else shares your concern. I mean, it's sort of the opposite effect that the internet is supposed to have. The internet's a place where people of like mind can find one another, where public opinion can be roughly measured, and they're distorting those data. So this is a massive,
This is what Facebook is saying now. We take allegations of bias very seriously. There are rigorous guidelines in place for the review team to ensure consistency and neutrality. These guidelines do not permit the suppression of political perspectives, end quote.
Well, the guidelines may not.
I would expect to hear that from the company. Is this something you can prove? Or is it just
I think it has
quotes
been
from anonymous
proved
people?
But quite a number of them with specific examples. And by the way, I don't doubt that the guidelines specify a certain code of behavior any more than the Constitution of every country in the world guarantees human rights, but very few of them actually provide it. I mean, the guidelines and the practice are two entirely different things. But in one specific instance, they pointed to Mark Zuckerberg, of course, the founder of Facebook, giving a speech to employees saying, hey, we need to pay attention to and, sympathize with Black Lives Matter. Shortly after that, stories about Black Lives Matter were added artificially to the trending topics list, suggesting that more Facebook users were sympathetic to Black Lives Matter than actually were.
And most people,
what effect does this have?
Well, most people think that, you're just seeing the popular stories that people are clicking on. But you have a unique perspective on this. You run a website.
Well, that's right. I run the Daily Caller.
What is your experience then?
Well, we've got a big presence on Facebook. We've got a couple of employees who spend a lot of time thinking about this. We're primarily a political site identified on the right, and yet our entertainment coverage, and by the way, we're grateful for this to Facebook, but gets big play on Facebook. Our political coverage gets disproportionately smaller play on Facebook. Now, I can't prove that's the result of bias, but if you talk to people who run conservative websites, probably get a similar story there. The point is, if Facebook is perceived to be a corrupt enterprise, politically corrupt, in the middle of a presidential campaign, skewing the news that people, use to understand who to vote for, this is, a basic betrayal of the trust that it has with its users. And by the way, keep in mind, on Facebook, people sign up for news. You put in your preferences. And so people aren't getting what they asked for, which is the other point.
Listen, I could keep going. I mean, I'm fascinated by the topic. Apple, Snapchat, we can get into all that, too. I mean, Apple's doing their own news feed now.
They have a lot of power, more power than people understand.
Right. More to come. Thank you.